All right, is it going through? Okay, guys, we are working towards not having problems. Is it working? All right, make sure it's working properly. So I have Kadie Major's mom, Vicky Hall, on with us. And please bear with us if you cannot, you want to check it? I have Selena, who works with me, helping me on the technical stuff. This is not my forte. So Vicky, can you see me all right?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay. So I have Vicky here. Okay, we're good. Everything is working out.
I'm linking now. Okay.
All right. So, but I can't hear. Yeah. All right. So first of all, I want people to know who you are, Vicky, and I want to say how sorry I am that you and I are even talking about this. You should not have to go through this. So tell me your story and about your daughter and your grandchildren.
Okay. I have 4 children. Kadie's now in heaven.
I know this is hard, Vicky. I'm so sorry.
And Kadie was my oldest. She had 3 younger siblings. She had 2 brothers and then a baby sister. They called her Sissy. There was 12 years between Kadie and the youngest, and she was their sissy. You know, she took well care of them, always looked out for her siblings. So this has been so hard on everybody, not just me. You know, her siblings, every day still, it's a struggle for them. And it's 12 years later and no answers. We believe we know the answers, but we have no justice. You know, it's just a fight. It's a fight to get, we feel, the authorities to do their job.
And we'll go into that. So one of the things I want to do that's a little bit different is I want to talk about the investigation and kind of dive into that a little bit, a deep dive into it. But first, I want people to know, I know 48 Hours did a fantastic job on the case. Yes. And so if people haven't watched 48 Hours, they need to go and watch it.
What I like to say there is, without 48 Hours, we would not be sitting here today. They kind of went out on the edge with a case ruled suicide, you know, sitting on the shelf, nobody would touch it. And they went out on the edge, knocked on the sheriff department's door and said, hey, we want to look at this. And I know when they made that first phone call, they were told, oh no, you don't want to look at that case. That girl was crazy and her mother's crazy. We've got other cases for you. But the producer, Ryan Smith, said, no, I want that case. And I can do it with or without you, because I've already investigated for 2 years. So without them being willing to, you know, continue and just keep digging in this case, we would not be here. And I'm just so thankful for them.
Well, and that's one thing I always want people to understand. It is so important to work with the media because they can get the story out there. And when you're faced with all these obstacles, they're your only hope a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get a good reporter and a good investigator, then you're set. And what that does is put pressure on the community to look at the police department, who generally is your sheriff elected?
Elected coroner and elected sheriff and elected solicitor, yes.
So your community can look at things and make changes, and your case alone should have people looking and making changes. And I know there are other cases in that area.
Yes, ma'am. So I know I didn't really answer your question. You wanted me to go back. So we were just pretty much living a normal life, pretty normal, average citizens, no trouble with the law, worked every day. Kadie married the love of her life, her high school sweetheart. Everybody that knew Kadie, it's hard for me to say knew and know, but knew Kadie, they knew she wanted to be a mom and a wife, and she wasn't career oriented where she had to go have a career necessarily. I always worked from home. I worked, but I was always there taking care of my children, and she appreciated that, what I did, and that's what she wanted to do. Everything seemed to be going along. Kadie had her first child, River Lynn. That was our first grandchild. She was born March 30th, 2007. And so that was March. And later that fall, approximately September, Kadie's pregnant again with a little boy. Well, we didn't know a boy. She's pregnant again in September. She just wanted a big family. She told me, Mom, I'm going to be 30 before I know it. I want a big family, because they didn't waste any time. Everything just was going averagely well. And in the middle of the night on January 16th, 2008, her husband shows up at our house at 1:44 a.m. and it just changed our whole world. I mean, and the next day they're found, what I believe, absolutely murdered, not far from where I live, next to a railroad track.
Tell me about the first contact from Kadie's husband, Aaron.
Okay. My husband answered my phone. Aaron called my phone, which is another unusual thing. He always called my husband's phone, but he called. He called and he told my husband, I need to come in the house and talk to you about something.
And wait a minute. So let's talk about that. A couple of things. Why is it important that he generally called your husband? I think that's important for the people to understand.
Well, it was just another kind of odd thing. Aaron just never called me. He called Kadie's dad. They worked together. They were very close. They made the communications. So it was unusual for him to call me in the middle of the night. But anyway, my husband answered the phone. I don't need to give every detail. And he just said, told Jeff, which always bothered Jeff, Kadie's dad, all of these years, is I need to come in and talk to you for something. From day one, Kadie's dad said, Vicky, why didn't you say, Jeff, have you heard from Kadie?
Right.
Jeff, did Kadie come here and leave? We have a farm. So there's many places to park where he couldn't have known if she was here when he pulled in the front driveway. He didn't say, Jeff, is Kadie here? That haunted my husband from day one. Why didn't he ask if we've heard from Kadie? Has she been here and left? Is she in the house with River? And of course, why did he wait till 1:44 in the morning and show up? Is another huge thing,
So he shows up at the house, and what is he wearing? You and I talked about that.
Yes. Normally, Aaron was very hot-natured, and he would wear flip-flops in the winter, t-shirt. He shows up in a Carhartt jacket. He had on boots, and that's really what I remember, but it was odd because if you're jumping in your vehicle to find your wife who's pregnant and your baby daughter and you're hot-natured, why are you dressed like you're going to be out walking in the woods?
Good point. Very good point. All right. So he gets there, and what does he say to you and your husband at the time?
Okay. Well, Jeff met him in the porch first because I didn't know he was here right away. And he just started on with the story. When I got there, what I witnessed, he just repeated the story, told Jeff that Kadie got home with him and that she didn't want to go in the house. His original story was exactly this. She didn't want to go in the house. and that she's shaking and trembling, that she had a premonition that someone was going to, and he can't get her in the house. And he's not mentioning River. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is someone I trusted. I believed what was coming out of his mouth. I'm like, Aaron, where's River? If Kadie's shaking and trembling, who's got River? Because he never mentions River as he's talking. And he said, oh, she's on her hip. She's got her on her hip. And then he said, I told her, this is his exact story, the original. He said, after I asked him that question, he said, I told Kadie, just let me take a shower and I'll bring you wherever you want to go. Like, where does she want to go? So that was his original story when he showed up in our porch. And then, I'm actually grabbing my hair and I'm pulling like this. And because I'm like, this had never happened. What are you talking about? It wasn't anything normal. It never happened. But he's sitting there just calm as could be with one hand cupped over the other. And, no body language, no movement, just calm. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because this isn't normal. So, but it also wasn't normal that I ever thought this man that I knew for 10 years would lie to me.
So one of the things that I hear a lot in situations like this is exactly that you trusted the person, they married they are family or like a son to you, you would never question them. Is that kind of the way you felt?
Yes, because Aaron knew I took him in as a son. I treated him the same as my other sons. Now that took some time, some years, but they dated for 5 years and he was with us all the time, would go on family vacations. So within some years, he knew he was like an absolute son. I would never think my own sons would lie to me, and I never thought he would lie to me, Right. The person I thought I knew wasn't there anymore. I'm like, where did he go?
And it's interesting. Some people that are looking at the case would say, well, weren't you suspicious? Weren't you thinking something was wrong? And there is a gut feeling that you had, correct?
Yes. From that moment when he showed up, but, the instinct, especially in a woman, even with Kadie's dad, was, I was overreacting a little. They just got in a fight and everything's going to be fine. But I had some gut. Of course, did I think they were dead? No, absolutely not.
No.
But something else, you just, maybe we really don't overreact if we could act on some of these.
Right. Plus, yes. Your head is telling you you've got to find your daughter. And so it takes over, correct? Where's my daughter? We need to get out there and look.
Right.
So let's talk about when you go out to look. So you and Aaron are in the car together and you're looking for Kadie, but that is not until the next morning. Is that correct?
Right. The next morning. And he left my house around 3 a.m. approximately.
And he goes home. Is that right?
And he's supposed to go home and check the computer, see if she used the debit card and call me. Then he doesn't call me, so I call him. But anyway, we ended up together. I was making orders first thing in the morning.
So you get up and you say, we're going to go look, or you probably didn't sleep, but I'm going to go look for Kadie and River. You get in the car with them, you're driving, and what strikes you when you're in the car and you're looking around for River and Kadie?
Yes, so I have him in the passenger seat and I'm driving because he told me he had already checked hotels in Monk's Corner when she originally left his house. And I'm driving and I'm seriously looking, like with everything in me, like looking for her truck because I believe his story. And I'm like, I'm driving through the parking lots and I'm like, why is he not looking? Because I'm like, why is he not looking? I'm looking at, as I'm driving, every vehicle coming. Because I'm like, where is Kadie? But he's not looking. He keeps looking at me talking, and I'm noticing he's not looking when we're driving through the parking lots. And I'm like saying to myself, why is he not looking? I didn't let my mind go there, but I'm like getting concerned.
So there was one other thing that Aaron exhibited on his physical, his hand, his right hand was hurt. Tell me about that.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of the first thing that I noticed. I noticed 3 things that morning. Yeah, so he's in my truck, and when he got in my truck, I heard him say "ow," and I didn't know why, but I heard him say "ow." That would have been when he closed the door. He closed the door, but at that moment, I'm just thinking focus, but I still took a mental note. But then when I need him to get back out of my truck, he just kept sitting there, and I'm like, why isn't he getting out? Well, I must have seen his hand swollen before that. He had lifted his hand up, and I saw his hand swollen. But then I'm his body, took his left hand and opened the door and got out.
Did you ask him about it?
No, I didn't. I was just taking mental notes and paying attention because I couldn't really accuse him of anything.
Right.
And I didn't really think of, I didn't know for sure his hand, but I was so focused on finding Kadie and River, but I also had told my daughter, Sarah, I don't want to scare you. When I was driving her to Aaron's and Kadie's house that morning, I said, but just, look through the house, just let's pay attention to what's going on. I was just really paying attention, but I didn't want to accuse Aaron or, just paying attention, hoping this all ended very well.
So what did she notice when she went through the house?
Well, on the table, there was a lot of papers printed with a lot of highlights and from these sites. And then the Bible, the main thing was the Bible, and that's what scared her, and she called me to come get her that morning, was about when Abraham just to sacrifice your firstborn son. The Bible was open, and when she read it, that's the verse that was highlighted. But when she went upstairs, there was disarray in River Lynn's bedroom. There was everything on the dresser, had been thrown, someone's arm threw it all off. All the things that were in the diaper bag were a pile dumped out on the floor. Because we were very close to Sarah, Kadie. Sarah knew everything that was in the diaper bag, and there's the whole pile of everything dumped on the floor. And then in Kadie's room, there was disarray, where things were out of order.
So that's important. And
but the big thing we noticed, the huge first thing is when I walked in first, there's River Lynn's jacket laying on the floor in the little area where Kadie had her diapers and all, right in the front door. And there's her jacket. And that was our first, oh my God, why is River Lynn's jacket laying on the floor?
So, Kadie, as a mother of how old was River Lynn at the time? 7 or 9 months?
She was 9.5 months.
9.5 months. So she knew how to properly take care of her, put on a jacket. If she was leaving, she would have brought, most mothers
because River Lynn got a little colder. Yeah, but she was definitely wanted her to have a hat and a jacket on.
Right. And so what I really am concentrating on, Vicky, is the physical stuff, because I think if you watch 48 Hours, you don't have to be Sherlock to understand that the investigation was not done properly. And so the things that a mom would notice or an average citizen would notice, evidently the police didn't notice, but the average citizen would have taken note that, as a mom, her granddaughter didn't have a jacket. The house is in disarray. Her husband has a broken hand, as we find out later, and the family's missing, and he's not looking around. Those are just very common 101. Something's not right. So I'm going to take you, I have some questions coming in. I'm going to take you through some of the questions that people are asking, but we're going to do this more than once. Hopefully without the technical difficulties the next time.
Yes.
We practiced, but it didn't work.
Right.
So I'm going to look and see what kind of questions are coming in. But what I really want to do is concentrate. 48 Hours did a great story talking about the story in Kadie and what happened. I'm talking about the investigation. So that one I'll wait for the end. Okay. Did he say
got in the house with me? Get in the house with me?
So there's find out what that from Jenny. Jenny, Jenny actually is a private investigator who's obviously watching, and she has a talent for words, statement analysis. So he must have said, got in the house with me. We may go back to what she's talking about on that. I don't know. Could Aaron have, what is this? Could
walked from where the truck was back to the house.
Could Aaron have walked from where the truck was found back to the house?
Yes, he could have. He could have kept going down the railroad tracks and got back home. There, he could have, yes.
Okay.
But do I know every detail to say, but is it physically possible that it's not too far to walk home? Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that we haven't talked about is Kadie invited you to go to dinner, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
She thought I was at Applebee's and she was saying they would come up there. She thought I was inside eating. I was picking up a to-go order.
Okay. And so why would she have that kind of money? What is it? Some of the, so, all right. And then, okay. We've got a ton of questions. So we're going to have to do this more than once, but, okay. So let's take it through. You've seen the house. He's got a broken hand. Let's take it to the bodies are found and the police arrive. But right before that, you get a call from Aaron, correct?
Yes.
About a radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
So we split up into two vehicles to look two different areas of, local Charleston area. I was going one, he was going another. And then all of a sudden he changed it and he's headed out of town. And he calls me. So he's not at the hotels he's supposed to be looking at. And he calls me and he said, Vicky, I need you to go to Oakley Road. A train hit a vehicle and two people are dead, which is, down where they were found. But the problem with that is, and I, told the police from all these 12 years ago that he should never have known Oakley Road. Whether he heard something on the radio, we know he didn't hear it at 11:31. What the radio station is saying, and he said he was listening to, I want to make sure, 94.3. Glenn Beck is on at 11:30, 11:31. They said there's no way they would ever interrupt that for one thing. It was, they don't interrupt Glenn Beck unless maybe the whole area is affected by a tornado or something major, not this, because so we know he didn't hear it on the radio station. So he told me to go there because a train hit a vehicle. Well, there was no train hit no vehicle. I think he wanted me to go there. He has a hurt hand. He didn't want the police to call him there and be shaking hands. He wanted me to face all of this, but he made that's a big mistake. Nobody knew Oakley Road. Nobody has ever come to me and said, Vicky, no, you're wrong. I heard Oakley Road. Nobody. He sent me to where he should not have gone. No, he may, for all we know, when we split up at his house, he could have driven. No, knew the bodies were found because he's seen some action and then waited to get out of town a little bit and call me and tell me, Vicky, you need to go there.
So I think you're right. That was a big mistake. He wanted you to find Kadie and the situation, her body. So again, going through the investigative stuff, I think that should have clued the police in, and they could have checked with the radio station to see if that actually happened.
But I did that. I went to all the TV stations, the radio stations, you know, in that time frame, that first year, first 6 months or 3 months. I told them that here's, you know, but at the scene when I found Kadie's truck, Rick Ollick, the main investigator, asked me, how did you know to get here? He asked me the question, right? First question. I said, the husband sent me here. He knew from question one how I got there and shouldn't have got there.
So let's talk about that for a second. You're told where to find Kadie, and you are distraught. You tell the police all these things, and you tell the police about the radio station, about the hand,
Well, I mean, I was asked some questions. I was asked, I remember, 2 main first questions, and then they turned their attention to the husband. They wanted me to call him, tell him to go to my house. So, you know, then everybody had Aaron go to my house and me go to my house, and then family started showing up.
All right.
I didn't tell them about the radio station at the scene. I just said the husband sent me here.
All right. So what kind of questions were you asked?
I was asked 2 questions. I was asked, how did you know to come here? I said, the husband sent me here. He told me to come to Oakley Road. I told him a train hit a vehicle and 2 people are dead. And he said, is there anybody Kadie's afraid of? And I said, yes, Aaron's mother.
Interesting.
And I said, you know, there's a concern of an ex-employee a little bit. But right away I told him, yes, Aaron's mother is the one person she's definitely afraid of.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about this. And Vicky, we're going to do this again because I'm going to upload this video and then have people ask more questions because I think there are technical difficulties. No shock here. We can do a little bit more. We're not going to do live because I'm in the learning curve over 50. And so it's you know, these kids know how to do this. I don't, but we'll work it out. But anyway, so okay. They don't see you. I just found out they're not seeing you, but when I upload it, they'll be able to see you. Okay. And I think that's important, but okay. And let's talk about what I'm trying to do and how we're trying to help you.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'd like to do, and you and I have had a discussion, is I want for people to know this case, but I want people that I know, what I call crowdsourcers, that will help you move the case forward. And so in order to move this case forward, I know the police are doing nothing. They've gone on the record, they're done. And which is shocking. So if people watch 48 Hours, they will look at the 2 detectives and think, oh my gosh, they're going to help you out. We know that that's not the reality of it. So I want to bring it to the people that follow my cases who have affected change. I mean, they have moved my cases along. You know, I am an investigator. I gather information, but I can't arrest people or anything other than expose what's going on in a case. You had a fantastic private investigator, Jessica, who's done a great job with you. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you and Jessica together. And you were totally shut down by the police department.
At this time, yes.
At this time. Well, and that's the thing. So people are asking how they can help. So I am going to have you lay out your case and ask the public to get involved.
Okay.
And we're going to help with giving information out to the public. And one of the biggest things that I'm absolutely opposed to is when the police tell you not to talk. That is the biggest BS I've ever heard in my entire life.
When they did it to me, they will, there's other families scared because they tell you you're going to mess the case up.
That's not true. So we're going to talk a lot about this case, and we're going to talk mainly about the investigation because Kadie, River, and Aiden deserve better than that.
Exactly.
Okay, and we have 4 great.
If I can just mention, and we have the other team player, new team player as of January, is John Q. Kelly, the attorney, who is just, willing to come in here. So he's in the background also investigating on his angle, so God is good and he's put a lot of people together, and I just want to thank everybody.
Tell who he is, because I didn't know who he's not in my circle. So can you tell who he is so the people listening can hear?
John Q. Kelly represented Nicole Brown Simpson's family and in the wrongful death. And, that's not what we're doing. We can't do wrongful death. We're way beyond that. But he's just willing to come in here and help. He's just amazing to bring everything together to get prosecution. He's a team player. He's back there investigating. He knows how to put the case together where most of these detectives don't, right?
Right.
Put the case together, get it to the prosecutor, and let's get this done. He's also can help get this suicide ruling. He's in the background putting his case together to go back at them and say, to help legally on his end. So we're very blessed to have all this help, and of course I'm thankful. He
is an advocate for victims, is what he is.
Yes. He's
very
you can see it touches him. He wants to fight for truth and justice, and you can learn more about him online. But I've been so impressed of knowing who John Q. Kelly is right here, why he does this, his heart for it, and just learning what he discovered in the wrongful death with the Nicole Brown family against OJ that would have probably put him in prison for the rest of his life. He found pictures of him wearing the shoes that he said he didn't own. So he's an amazing man. So.
Yeah, and you are lucky to have him. So what I find is a lot of people that work with me on cases that are moms that have 4 boys and they're sitting around a dinner table working on cases. They are fantastic to come in and say, how can I help? What can I do? And so we want people that want to help you find justice. Now, justice doesn't always look like justice, what we were brought up to believe. So what we really want is to put pressure on the investigators and look at their investigation, get the suicide ruling overturned, and the elected official career needs to be looked at, the investigators' careers. And that's what I would like to do is, stand behind what you've done. So if your investigation's great, let's lay it out there and show how great it was. If it wasn't, then you need to correct it because you're in the position to correct it.
Right.
So
yes.
There are 4 questions though. What are they?
Have any witnesses come forward to say Aaron's hand was not broken in the hours before?
Oh, well, that's a great question. So have you had any witnesses come forward to say that Aaron's hand was not broken hours before Kadie's death?
Yes, there's someone at the funeral home who is trying to say she witnessed him punching the wall. The funeral home director.
Right. And that's the other thing. So as the public gets involved, I'm sure other people will come forward, but didn't Aaron work with your husband and your son?
Yes.
Was his hand broken at work that day?
No.
And when he went looking with them?
When he went looking, what do you mean?
Wasn't the hand hand swollen.
Oh, when you went looking with him, his hand was swollen, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
before their bodies were found.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Did Kadie ever tell her mother anything such as my marriage is in trouble or I'm leaving home?
Hey, that's Terry. And yeah, that is a great question. So, did Kadie ever say my marriage is in trouble or give you any indication there were problems?
No, and I would ask her, I would ask her, any abuse, is he doing anything, Kadie, does he put his hands on you? I would sit down and ask her and no.
Why would you ask her?
Because Aaron was secretive. He was secretive, and I just wanted to make sure I knew everything.
Didn't Aaron have a really bad temper or had a reputation for a bad temper?
I found out the things that I found out were after they died, where he had snapped in front of a family member. I didn't know about it, honestly. But I just, would ask. I had sat her down and asked her, I had some concerns that Aaron wasn't bonding with River Lynn, and more right at the end, because now she's smiling and saying, Dad, and, and I didn't see, he would kind of hold her out and wasn't reacting. It was right around Christmas. And I'm like, I can understand when you're nervous, you have a newborn, I was having some concerns that he wasn't bonding with River. Now we got another baby coming.
That's my favorite time as a mom is 9 months when they're starting to interact, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other one that?
There's two. And the bodies have not been found yet. How could the radio station or anyone later report it?
Yeah. So Chelsea, who's, as you know, is brilliant. She's been very helpful, but she said, how did the radio report it when the bodies hadn't been found?
Okay, well, the bodies had been found. The bodies were about 8:30 in the morning. A railroad worker found the bodies.
Got it.
But was never announced. The location was never announced for Aaron to know where to send me to where they're at.
So could he have gone and sat there and watched them find the bodies and the investigators starting to arrive and stuff?
Not because he was with me at the 8:30 time.
Okay, what time were y'all not together?
Sometime after 10.
Okay.
I don't want to say the exact time, but we split up maybe 10:20 a.m.
Okay.
approximately.
And he called you to go to that area at what time?
11:31.
Okay.
Also from Chelsea, Kadie's car was found a mile from Vicky's house. Is that her normal route?
Okay, again, Chelsea, she's always one with questions. So she asked she said that Kadie's car was found a mile from your home. Was that the normal route that Kadie would have taken to get to your house?
No, not where her vehicle was found, in that driveway, no.
Okay. All right.
Terry, did you get vibes of fear from her?
Oh, great question, Terry. Did you ever get any vibes of fear from Kadie?
Fear of Aaron?
Yes.
No, they would feel she could get frustrated with him, but no, I never saw where Kadie was afraid of Aaron.
Okay.
No.
All right. Is there anything else?
Except for the whole Facebook page, but we can do that. You already kind of did it with her on that.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to end it here, but you stay on. And then we'll figure this technology stuff out. I'm sorry to the people that are watching that I can't. I'm over 50 and I'm an idiot on YouTube, but we will get this worked out. And Vicky will come back on so you can see her beautiful face and all the work that she is the investigator, and how lucky you are to find a good investigator who has the heart and the intelligence.
It's right here,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it takes, is someone who actually cares. So
yes, because I worked with people that didn't, and they just wanted money, and you knew. But when you find someone with a heart to get something done, and their heart says, I want to know these answers as much as you do, basically, it's amazing, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, and we will be bringing in, I do these workshops of cold cases and doing more YouTube now that we're all quarantined. But this is a great time to get, moms asking. I know who they are. I appreciate y'all because I know what you guys are capable of doing and finding. So thank you. And so do you want to end it? So we'll work this all out. Hang on, Vicky. I don't know how to end it. Do I?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right, hang on. We're going to end.